A lawyer who moonlights as a vigilante, that's the kind of guy who'd want to protect his personal information. With the sponsor of this video is brought to you by NordVPN, the virtual private network constantly striving to help make our traversing this digital hellscape trash fire minefield known as the internet a little safer, a little more secure. Nord's threat protection scans for viruses and malware from websites you visit or files you download, blocks it if it looks suspicious. Have you gotten those official looking tax document emails yet? If not, you soon will. But if they do somehow convince you to click on that Hydra bomb monstrosity they call an attachment, pray you have Nord to stonewall that nonsense. We've all noticed news of company data leaks are becoming increasingly more commonplace as a news headline, and that's if the company does disclose the leak. Who knows who has our personal information and what they're doing with it on the dark web. Nord's dark web monitor has you covered there too, constantly scanning that seedy underbelly of the internet. One account protects up to 10 devices, all backed by Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. So click the link below, go to nordvpn.com/johns, get an exclusive NordVPN deal plus 4 extra months. Alright, the Daredevil Born Again premiere was tonight, and you know what that means. Now I'm gonna go ahead and give you a spoiler warning, as I am gonna talk about spoilers in Daredevil Born Again episodes 1 and 2. If you haven't seen the first 2 episodes and you care, you should probably stop this video now. I mean, feel free to come back after you've watched the first 2 episodes, but still, if you have seen the episodes or you just don't care, hey, pull up a chair. Let's have some fun talking about it. And as always, it's not going to be a play-by-play, just going to give you my thoughts on some things that stood out to me in these episodes. All right, disclaimers done, and the show starts out with Matt, Karen, and Foggy hanging out. Life is good. You see this little fly land on a light bulb, then you see a paperclip that's been straightened out go right through the fly, and I was like, oh, they're bringing Poindexter in right now. You see his glove, and I was like, is he in the costume? Have they? No. I mean, not really. We're closer. Not quite there. He's in that ninja phase of Batman Begins for Bullseye. Also, Foggy gets shot. Anyhow, moving on. That does lead to a fight between Daredevil and Bullseye, which does take you back to those fights. The classic Daredevil series fights, you know, the one-shots that we all love. I mean, when Matt Murdock suited up and he was swinging around as Daredevil to intercept Bullseye, I was like, that is a lot more CGI than I'm used to in my Daredevil TV. You drop that Evanescence track, we have a bona fide, nay, benefide throwback to 2003. Regardless of that, the fight still did have the flavor though. You know, Bullseye's throwing knives into Daredevil. Daredevil looked like a porcupine by the end. Props to his armor, and it does show what Bullseye is up against when he's not rocking the ninja outfit from season 3. Yeah, he could take a knife for 10. Only thing, Matt hears Foggy's heart stop. Then he just drops Bullseye off the roof. Splat! I mean, he lives, but splat nonetheless. And yeah, Foggy's dead. Which there was something about the vibe in that bar where they're all hanging out and Foggy's getting a phone call. I was like, I'm feeling someone's gonna die. It's series show Resurrection Rebirth 101. Sometimes the price has to be paid, and there it is. All right, I guess it's Foggy. Cut to the new intro, which I do like the new intro, though I do miss the old intro. I mean, it is Daredevil Born Again, not Daredevil Season 4. I don't know. Would've liked the old Daredevil intro for this. So we already saw this in the trailer. Episode 1, the thing is, oh, Wilson Fisk is running for mayor of New York. At the end of the episode, he becomes mayor of New York. And one of Fisk's goals as mayor is to outlaw masked vigilantes, which is another reason I really hope Ben Poindexter comes back. The man's getting multiple consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. They're pretty much putting him under the prison. Still, I love me a good villain. He's a solid villain. I'd like to see him return in the show, especially in the capacity of Wilson Fisk being mayor, outlawing masked vigilantes. At least that's a goal as of now. But we know how those politicians are. Laws for thee, not for me. Him hypocritically having a masked vigilante at his beck and call. I see the potential there. Or, well, I guess he's not a big fan of Wilson Fisk either. Fisk did kill his North Star after all, and that's why he tried to kill Vanessa at the end of season 3. Spoilers for season 3. But if you're watching this video before you watch season 3, it's a bit odd. But yeah, you would think Poindexter would finish that job and take out Vanessa or take out Wilson Fisk. Why didn't he take them out? Was it because Vanessa was basically the queen pin at this point? I guess he was like, ugh, can't get to him. I'll just shoot Foggy, whatever. Marvel Studios contracts, not just a legal contract. It's a kill contract. I do like how the show plays up that Daredevil's gone, but the people are still calling for him. Crime is up. They want vigilantes. Also speaks to a very real concept that people have lost faith in their politicians. They want someone else, something else to take care of the problem. They're doing this thing throughout the show, showing this low-res interview footage of people on the street, you know, what they think of Wilson Fisk. Apparently phones, cameras, modern technology in New York don't shoot in 4 and 8K. They're like, nah, baby, party like it's 1999 and Boondock Saints that shit. I do appreciate the fact that you don't need to watch the other shows that Kingpin has been in. You can watch Daredevil seasons 1, 2, 3 and just roll into here. For the most part, there will be a couple of references and nods that'll miss you, but you're not gonna care. Like when Matt Murdock's talking to Wilson Fisk in the diner and Wilson Fisk is like, do you have any kids? Matt says, nope, what about you? And Wilson Fisk says something like, I was a mentor, but that's as close as I ever got to being a parent or something like that. Then Matt Murdock says something like, didn't you get shot in the face? And I was like, wait, that's Echo, right? Echo in Hawkeye still? Didn't she shoot him in the face? Also, real question, did those shows ever explain how Wilson Fisk is not in prison? Last I saw him in season 3, he was on his way back to the clink. A bunch of cops who were in bed with him, so to speak. They were getting hauled away. Life was good in Hell's Kitchen. I did laugh when he and Vanessa were in couples therapy. I don't know why. There's just... You don't think about that kind of stuff when you think about Wilson Fisk. It's kind of like thinking about the Joker when he wakes up in the morning. I mean, imagine the guy doesn't sleep in his makeup. He has to have little makeup wipes, takes off the makeup for a job well done for the day, curl up in his bed, wake up the next morning, have his morning shit, put his makeup on, eat breakfast. These things that you don't think about when you think about a character. It's kind of what couples therapy is for Wilson Fisk. And I couldn't help but chuckle when I saw it. Granted, it is the therapist that's now dating Matt Murdock, so I could see it being a calculated thing. Wilson Fisk will like, I'd like to patch this up. Let's go to couples therapy. She's dating an old associate, a frenemy, the one She-Hulk smashed. Is that canon? I do have my thoughts about Fisk and Vanessa standing apart like this that I just don't like. But this is a problem you might run into when different showrunners with different visions are dealing with the same character in different shows. Wilson Fisk and Vanessa had this love connection that was oddly and unexpectedly romantic. Guy spent an entire season 2 keeping her safe and then part of the next season trying to get her back. So now they're having marital problems because Wilson Fisk needed to be used in other shows to get people to hopefully tune in. Now we gotta write a reason as to how Vanessa wasn't a part of it and any fallout that might come from that. But I like the Wilson Fisk element. In terms of tone, the show does have a familiar tone to the Netflix Daredevil series. I still prefer the original Daredevil Netflix series, just aesthetically speaking. It's grittier, the cinematography is more intimate. It looks like a David Fincher series. It's crazy. This does look more high budget, a bit cleaner. I feel like that works against it. I like that dirty, gritty old vibe. But they do still treat Wilson Fisk generally like Wilson Fisk, though he laughs more in this series than he has before. A few conversations, he laughs. But Wilson Fisk has always been this monster, this kingpin, this asshole who is doing what he sees to be best for the city he loves. And now he's mayor, and at least in the first 2 episodes, he seems to be operating with that same ideology. He even blackmails the commissioner. The commissioner comes into his office, he's like, hey, just came to give you these, my resignation, and I'm gonna take a bunch of cops with me because we hate your guts. Peace. And he's like, look under the napkin, asshole. He blackmails the guy. I was like, okay. You're still a dick. Good. We want you to be. We want you to be that guy because that's when you're fun to watch. Funny, at the beginning of episode 2, Fisk is in his office. He's been elected mayor. That's when episode 1 ends. You see his hands and his knuckles have been beaten up. Like he's been punching somebody. I don't know. I just noticed his knuckles were beat up, which is really cool. Before he blackmailed the commissioner, that was the first inkling that maybe this guy isn't actually on the level. Maybe he's every bit the asshole we, the audience, know him to be. Or he had one hell of an inauguration party, went all Walter White on a paper towel dispenser. And the vigilante thing does bring us to White Tiger. You see, there were a couple of guys in this subway beating someone up. And this guy, this bystander, was like, hey, you stop that. He goes and intervenes. He fights off the 2 attackers. And yes, this is in a subway, so one of the attackers got the MK3. Turns out those guys who were beating someone up, they were cops. And the guy who intervened is actually a vigilante, White Tiger. I don't know much about White Tiger, I'm not gonna front. So that's where we see the iconic Daredevil storytelling from Netflix unfolding here on Disney+. That person outside Matt Murdock and Daredevil's orbit that gets wrapped up in the situation, so Matt Murdock's gonna defend this guy as his lawyer. Like Frank Castle in season 2, Ray Nadeem in season 3. The man is the heart and tragedy of season 3. The I'm not your boss anymore, Wilson Fisk is, throw the shield on the table. That still gives me chills. So Matt Murdock finds the guy who's being beaten up by the cops, and as he tells him, he's like, you are the only one who can help my client, and they're coming. We have 20 seconds. The guy keeps talking. He's like, 10 seconds. Which is prime Daredevil, even though he doesn't have his outfit and hasn't suited up since the very beginning of episode 1. The guy gets away, and these cops confront Matt Murdock, and they start beating the shit out of him. I was like, question. Question that needs an answer. I feel like a lawyer is a pretty credible witness. I was like, couldn't he just be like, hey, so these cops beat the shit out of me. I guess they are that crooked. I think there's something to my client's claims if anyone wants to listen. Then they were like, all right, we got to kill him. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, well, I mean, he is right. You do have to. Then Murdock goes full Daredevil without the suit. It's when you see the compound fracture in the arm. They took some hits. I mean, that's where the episode ends, is when he yells and then it cuts to black, end of the episode. But I was, did they die? I feel like Murdock could still be like, yeah, they came to kill my client. I know that because they were going to kill me and I acted in self-defense. How, you ask? Actually, it wasn't me. It was some masked vigilante who dropped through it was great. Daredevil did. Yeah, it was nuts. Point is, they were there to kill him and they tried to kill me. Next question. The intrigue is rolling out. Like, one of those crooked cops had a Punisher tattoo. Looked like a Punisher tattoo anyway. Maybe I looked at it upside down, in which it looks like a Punisher tattoo. It's actually Fat Sauron. But that intrigue is there. It's like, oh, is that when Punisher's gonna come in? Is he gonna have to take on these Punisher wannabes, kind of like Batman had to take on the Sons of Batman in The Dark Knight Returns? My biggest hang-up is the fact that Foggy and Karen are just not in it, but there are Foggy and Karen replacements. One of them knows he's Daredevil, the other one doesn't know he's Daredevil. Maybe they felt they capped in the intrigue of Karen and Foggy, but you can go other directions. If you feel you have to kill Foggy to get the plot moving, you can still keep Karen. When I was on these side missions with these characters who are brand new to this season, this show, I didn't care, and then I mentally projected Karen into this situation, and I cared a lot more. I don't see why you wouldn't give us one of the characters we've become attached to in the previous 3 seasons. Calling it 3 seasons kind of cuts it short. It's 10 years. I hope he suits up more. You know, the Daredevil costume has never been the only thing going in the Daredevil series, but it is an element of it. I'm still waiting for Daredevil to come into Daredevil. Right now you can call it something different, like Matt Murdock, the Devil Within or something. But yeah, so far, off to a solid start here. I don't know how it's going to play out. By the end, it could all fall apart and end up being some sort of launch vehicle for Young Avengers or something. I don't like this, but I do have that perpetual feeling of, okay, when's the axe going to drop? I don't know what to say. I've just been conditioned to feel that way, to always be on guard. But so far, it's off to a solid start. There's intrigue. The characters feel like the characters. They seem to have an understanding of what Daredevil on Netflix is and was. I appreciate that. Looking forward to episode 3. All right, so Daredevil Born Again, the premiere. Episodes 1 and 2. Have you seen them? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below. Let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more. Funny, someone asked Matt Murdock, you been to Queens lately? And I was like, here it comes, only to represent Peter Parker. No, well, I guess he wouldn't remember him. Magic.